Welcome to Skills for Life, a podcast about high-demand jobs that are shaping future opportunities. This show is brought to you by the North Shore Schools Foundation. I'm Kira Dorrian, your host and a North Shore mom. Let's get started. Well, today on the show, I get to speak with Christy Gibson, who is the founder of Gibson Bookkeeping. Christy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kira. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to speak with you. Can you start by just telling everyone what it is exactly that bookkeeping is? Because I think you and I were joking about the fact that not everyone actually knows what that means, especially not necessarily our students, and what it is you do now, because I know you started off in bookkeeping, but now you're in a business. So give us a little sense of what it is that you do.
Sure. So bookkeeping is an essential function that all businesses need to do. The basics of it are, it is a methodology for recording the money coming into a business and the money going out of a business, putting those figures into financial statements so that business owners can make decisions about their business and so that they can file accurate federal returns.
So super important. And as a small business owner, it must almost feel full circle when you have to do your own bookkeeping. Is that is that true?
Yeah, my bookkeeping is the easiest in the world because I know exactly what I'm doing. But I can tell you that most small business owners don't start their business with bookkeeping in mind, and it's not a skill set that they currently have. So relying on an outsourced bookkeeper is really important for those small businesses. And that's the service that we're providing to other small businesses.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge. I'm actually a small business myself as a voice actor, and it is every year tax season makes me weep because I'm like piecing together all the different pieces of what came in and what went out. And so I think it's wonderful that that service is available to people like me to make our lives easier. So thank you for that. So how did you get here? How did you end up running your own business? How did you come into bookkeeping in the first place? Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, I'll be as brief as I can because it is a very interesting story. I would like to start by just saying that I watched my parents own their own small businesses, and that was in my realm of what I thought I might do one day. However, I took the standard path of going to a junior college and then finishing my degree at a 4-year college. I studied business administration because that interested me, with a concentration in marketing. Some of the classes that I found the most fun were classes related to small businesses, like putting together a business plan for a small business loan. I ended up not using that marketing degree because life gets busy and in the way, and I ended up focusing instead on human resources. I worked at a fairly large company, and I watched a lot of my coworkers have children and then come back 3 months later. And for me, that just never resonated with what I wanted to do in relationship to raising my own family. So when I had children, I took time off of work to raise them. And over the course of 4 years, we had 3 children. And I ended up going to the gym quite a bit because, to be honest, it was the cheapest childcare in town. I could do something healthy for myself, and my kids were doing something fun and on site with me. If they needed me, I was there. I ended up developing a relationship with another member of the gym who eventually approached me and said, "Hey, I'm a CPA by trade. I have several small businesses and I don't have time to do my own bookkeeping. Would you be interested in starting your own business because I don't want employees? And I will teach you everything you need to know. You can work from home." And it just was this really sweet opportunity. Some of my prior experiences really lended me well to doing that. I had worked in an accounts receivable office, and of course, with business administration, I'd taken, as a degree, I had taken multiple accounting classes. So it was a really good fit. And it fit the value system that I had for being able to be a stay-at-home mom and still use my intellect and earn an income.
That's amazing. I love hearing stories like that when, women in particular, I think, when they can find a way to not have it all. I don't love that because I don't think that's actually a reality, but to find a way to have balance in their life to achieve the various different parts of their lives that are important to them. So I think that's fantastic. So tell me a little bit, let's start with bookkeeping, just as a profession itself. The people who work for you that do the bookkeeping, when you were originally doing the bookkeeping. Tell me a little bit about that work. What kind of skills does a student need to have to be successful in that? Is the industry changing and transforming as technology is changing and transforming? Where do you see it going in 5 to 10 years? Let's talk just a little bit about that piece.
Bookkeeping is a very dynamic industry, and there are a lot of different ways for people to provide bookkeeping services. There are people who work in accounting department within a large corporation. A lot of those can be entry-level jobs. What we've decided as a business to focus on is providing what we call after-the-fact bookkeeping support. And we've been very specific on who our clientele base is. So all of our work is done remotely, and we're not performing live aspects of our bookkeeping work. So for my staff, what's important for them with working remotely is to be self-starters, to be good communicators, to be able to build relationships with their clients, their accounts that they're managing, while also working remotely, and maybe never meeting these people face to face. Being self-starters, being able to focus on details, having an interest in people, and having a desire to be helpful are all qualities that I look for in my staff.
And so for bookkeeping itself, is it fair to say that one does have to have some pretty good math skills and Excel spreadsheet skills? And what are some of the programs that people need to get comfortable with? You know, what kind of classes are they excelling at in high school, for example, that would tell them, hey, this could be a really good profession for you?
It's interesting. Oftentimes people do think that bookkeepers need to have a strong skill set with math. And I wouldn't say that that's necessarily true because we use software. Back in the day when bookkeeping started and you literally were recording manual entries into books, which is where the name comes from, math was probably more important. But nonetheless, it tends to be simple addition and subtraction, moving money from one account, increasing it or decreasing it. They're not generally complex formulas. Now, most bookkeepers are using software that does the calculations for them. So I'd say what's more important is having an understanding of accounting principles to know what's going on behind the scenes, because if something goes sideways, it's important for a human being to understand what's happening to be able to fix the software. There's a lot of different software out there. The biggest one, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of, is QuickBooks. And we use the online version just simply because it's easier for remote work. And it's also a great tool. Aside from that, we do tend to use Excel, but not in a heavy format. But familiarity with all of the Microsoft platforms like Word and Excel, or the Google platforms like Google Docs or Google Drive, are important aspects of our business because that's how we're communicating with our clients, and those are the platforms they're using.
I love when guests are able to debunk a myth for their profession. And I think it's really wonderful for our students to hear that, hey, you don't have to be a math whiz to do this work, that actually your people skills are more important than your ability to do complex math. So thank you for sharing that and for sharing some of the programs that people are going to be using. Let's shift for a second to the small business ownership and talk a little bit about that, because yes, you started with bookkeeping, but now you're a small business owner. Tell me a little bit about that work, and same kind of questions. How do you see that evolving over time? What kind of student would be successful to be an entrepreneur and a small business owner? Tell us about that.
So I think when a person is successful at running a small business, it's because they're passionate about whatever it is that they're doing, whether that's an idea that they have or a product or a service that they're providing. They're interested in it, and it fills a space in their life. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we work with the people that we work with, because for myself, finding that balance in life between being a mom and running a business was important to me. And I wanted to be able to share that same level of balance with all the other small businesses out there that we're working with, because I do see small business owners really diving deep into their business and sometimes losing that sense of balance. So hiring an outside resource such as a bookkeeping firm can help them compartmentalize and focus on the things that are really key to running their own business and scaling their own business.
So in terms of both skill sets as a bookkeeper and now as a business owner, I'm curious what kind of educational path you would recommend. It sounds like having that business administration degree really helped in both of those situations for you. Are there other degrees that you feel would be valuable for students to be considering pursuing? And if they're not pursuing a degree, what kind of other trainings or certifications would be useful in either of these arenas?
So I don't necessarily think that a degree is critical for being a small business owner. In fact, many of the businesses that we're working with, we will see a wide variety of whether they have a degree or they don't have a degree. Some of the most interesting businesses we work with, the business owner will describe themselves as an accidental entrepreneur. One woman comes to mind where when she was doing babysitting services, she used to like to take pictures of the kids, and that developed into a full-on photography business. So my path happened to be getting a degree in business administration. It's where my interest was. I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do other than work in the business industry. So that happened to be the path I chose. I would say that as far as bookkeeping goes, it's interestingly not a very regulated industry. So pretty much anyone could put a sign on their door saying, I'm a bookkeeper, but that doesn't mean that they would be a very good bookkeeper. So taking accounting classes is important, and having the experience up front is important. But I feel like if a student was interested in bookkeeping, a good path for them would be to work in any sort of business and try to work in the office aspect of it, where they're getting a chance to use maybe the accounting software or functions that are related to either paying the bills or generating invoices for clients, and just understanding how the money is moving. And if it was a career that they wanted to pursue with vigor, they could certainly reach out to bookkeeping firms and ask if they have entry-level positions. Much of the bookkeeping skill set can be learned on the job.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's wonderful. And are those the kinds of jobs that even our high school students, if they're looking for a part-time job, that they could even look into something like that?
Yes, I would say that they absolutely could. Attention to detail, I can't stress how important that is, though. So only someone with, good pattern recognition and a genuine interest in making sure that everything is accounted for, everything ties out to the penny would be a good fit for this type of industry.
Awesome. Okay, so I would love for you to just let our students know what you love about your job. I know we've talked a little bit about the balance that it provides, that you're able to work from home. What about the work itself? What is it that you really enjoy?
Oh, yeah, I love problem solving. Even though math isn't necessarily required, one of the foundations with math is pattern recognition. And I love taking a bookkeeping file that someone else has made a complete mess of, finding the patterns, finding the answers, and sorting things out so that financial reports are actually accurate. And that sounds super geeky and nerdy to say that, but it's like taking something that's super messy, cleaning it up, making it beautiful and pretty and helpful for someone else. And that kind of stuff is fun.
Oh, I don't think that sounds geeky at all. I totally get it. It's that feeling of like starting the day with a checklist and then you check it all off and it looks so neat and tidy and organized. I totally get it. Okay, final question. I would love to know if you could look your 18-year-old self in the face and give her some advice that you would also maybe want to pass along to our students. What would you tell her?
I would say be open to opportunities and understand that no matter what you're doing in life, there are people of influence who could be watching you. And if they see something in you that appeals to them, they may reach out to you with opportunities that you wouldn't expect, and to be open to those opportunities.
I love that. That's the whole thing at the gym, right? That you built this relationship and look where it led because you were open to that opportunity presenting itself.
Open to that opportunity. And then also just making eye contact with people, saying hello, having conversations with people, not for any end purpose in mind, but just for the sake of building community and friendships and relationships, because networking matters and you never know where it's going to lead you. And it's always interesting.
It's so true. I love it. Christy, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today and just sharing your knowledge and expertise, both as a bookkeeper and as a small business owner. Our students and parents really appreciate it.
You are so welcome, and it was my pleasure.
We hope you'll join us again, and remember to hit subscribe to be notified about upcoming episodes. Join the conversation on our Facebook page, Build Skills for Life. That's Build Skills, the number 4, and then the word life. Are you interested in advertising as a sponsor for this podcast? Contact us at podcast@nsdfoundation.org. To learn more about the North Shore Schools Foundation, visit us at northshoreschoolsfoundation.org. Thanks for listening.